how to blow out an egg with a cordless Dremel that is available for around $20 at your local Walmart. I currently have the Dremel fitted with a diamond engraving bit, and I will demonstrate how I use a nasal syringe and the two-hole method to blow out an egg. I use my Dremel on high, and I make one hole, a smaller one in the top of the egg and a larger hole in the bottom of the egg. I try to make it as centered as possible, and I use my Dremel on high. Once I have both holes, I use an implement, either a small crochet hook that has been sterilized prior to use, or a new paper clip that I've never used before that's been dipped in vinegar to sterilize it, because I use the contents of the eggs rather than throw them away. I prefer to use the small crochet hook inserted into the larger hole because it has the little hook on the end, and I find that it's easier to break the yolk this way. I think this one came with some sort of craft set that I had, but you can find them at any Michael's or Hobby Lobby. Once I see that the yolk has been broken, I take a nasal syringe and I gently blow into the top hole. Some people do this with their mouth. I prefer not to. I try to blow air in with even pressure because it helps to blow the contents out fully and not explode the egg. Once I see that most of the contents are out, I go ahead and take a dosing syringe full of water, cover the bottom hole, and blow air into the top, or blow water into the top hole. Then I shake it, and then I blow the egg out into my second bowl so that the eggs that I've expelled, or the egg that I've expelled, is still good for cooking or baking or to feed back to the chickens. I typically do this twice. If you don't have a good seal over the bottom hole, the water just comes right out. There you go. Two-hole method. Doesn't take very long. And I turn it upside down and let it dry for a day or two. You can also use a Dremel for the one-hole method. And I'm going to change my bit and the collet for this. I'm going to need a larger one for the 1/4 inch. This is a grinding stone. It's typically used for a chainsaw to sharpen chainsaws, but I find that it works fabulously to grind the shell of an egg without breaking it. As I said, this has a different diameter than the bit that I was using before, so it does require a different collet, which you can also buy at any local hardware store. I also use my drill on high for this, but I'm only going to make one hole in the top of the egg. And that's all I do. I'm going to use my same hook, make sure that I get that yolk. And this is by far the easiest method if you're using them for ornaments, because you're covering the top with a bead cap or an ornament cap anyway. You can tell that the yolk is broken, so I'm going to go ahead and take my nasal syringe and I insert it slightly into the hole at a 45-degree angle and gently blow so I don't explode the egg. That's it. Then I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to fill it with water, shake it, I also do this twice, but the dosing syringes are much faster than an actual syringe, and you don't really want to use your nasal syringe because once it gets wet, it's like mine is now, it's harder to blow the contents out. If you don't have dosing syringes, you can also run it underneath the faucet to put water in. The reason that I only use one hole for ornaments is because it keeps the integrity of the egg on the bottom, and I find that they break less. And I'm covering it up anyway, and I would just prefer not to see a hole in it. You can also bore a hole in an egg with a drill bit by hand. I don't, because I blow a lot of them out, and I figured it was worth the $20 investment for the Dremel. There you have it. One hole and two hole methods with a nasal syringe.